When was the last time you heard someone say, Intel inside? That sticker used to be everywhere, on almost every computer that mattered. Intel wasn't just a chip company, it was the infrastructure of the entire computing industry. Today, Intel is worth only a fraction of Nvidia, a company that has already crossed the $5 trillion mark. That's not a rivalry, that's a different universe. Intel powered the PC era, and Nvidia powered the AI era. And the story of how that happened will change how you think about the companies that shape your world today. During the 1990s, Intel held a 90% market share in PC microprocessors. But that number alone doesn't capture what Intel actually was. The Wintel partnership, Windows from Microsoft, processors from Intel, created something more powerful than a duopoly. It created a closed loop. Microsoft kept releasing software that demanded more processing power. That forced consumers to upgrade their hardware. And since Windows ran on x86 processors, a market Intel dominated, almost every upgrade meant another Intel chip. Together, the two companies built hundreds of billions of dollars in value from a system that felt impossible to break. Intel wasn't a company you competed with, it was a company you built on top of. Every PC manufacturer, every enterprise software developer, every IT department on the planet, they all depended on Intel. The CPU was the center of the computing universe, and Intel controlled it. Not as a product advantage, as a fact of life. While Intel was running the world, a small company in California was making graphics cards for teenagers playing video games. Wall Street cared about CPUs, enterprises cared about servers, and gamers cared about GPUs. And almost nobody thought gaming chips would become the foundation of the next computing era. In the early 2000s, Intel and AMD were locked in a race for faster CPUs. GPUs, meanwhile, were seen as gaming hardware, built for video games, not for powering the global economy. Nvidia wasn't even in the conversation. It was a niche company solving a niche problem. And the idea that it would one day be worth 40 times more than Intel would have been dismissed as fiction. But inside Nvidia, someone was already thinking beyond graphics. Behind closed doors, researchers at universities had started experimenting with GPU hardware for scientific computing, running simulations, and processing massive datasets. The results were promising. Nvidia took notice. In 2006, Jensen Huang launched CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture, a software platform that allowed scientists and developers to write standard code and run it directly on Nvidia GPUs without needing to understand graphics programming. Nvidia's own VP of Graphics Research described CUDA as the single most transformative thing the company ever built. But at the time, it looked like a costly mistake. Huang insisted that CUDA support be included in every Nvidia GPU, from high-end workstation cards to cheap gaming hardware sitting in college dorm rooms. The decision cost Nvidia billions of dollars over the years, with no clear market to justify it. And for years, almost nobody outside academia used it. By conventional business logic, it looked irrational. But Huang understood something almost nobody else did. Where CPUs were built for depth, one complex task at a time, GPUs were built for scale, thousands of simpler operations at once. And that turns out to be exactly what training in AI requires. And so, Nvidia had built the architecture for AI before the world realized AI was coming. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe. This is a new channel, and we're just getting started. Then in 2012, everything changed. Researchers at the University of Toronto used Nvidia GPUs running CUDA to train a neural network called AlexNet. The results shocked the industry. AlexNet crushed the competition in image recognition so completely that researchers described it as a turning point in the history of computer vision. Within 2 years, nearly every major AI research lab in the world had moved to Nvidia GPUs. All of the research, all of the models, all of the frameworks, they were built on CUDA. Switching away from Nvidia didn't just mean buying different chips, it meant rebuilding years of accumulated work from scratch. And so, Nvidia had become standard for AI computing before anyone realized a standard was being set. Here is the part of the story that is easiest to misunderstand. Intel could no longer sustain its dominance because it had become almost perfectly optimized for a world that was quietly disappearing. Its dominance had been built on one core capability, designing the world's best sequential processors and manufacturing them at massive scale with extraordinary precision. That success created enormous internal gravity. The company became structurally aligned around defending the CPU era it had spent decades building. Every engineering priority, every investment decision, every strategic calculation was shaped by the logic of protecting what already worked. In 2007, Apple approached Intel about building processors for the iPhone. Intel's leadership concluded the margins were too thin and the volumes too uncertain. Apple moved to ARM-based chips instead. Today, ARM architecture powers nearly every smartphone on the Earth. And the same pattern kept repeating: mobile computing, GPU acceleration, AI infrastructure. Each time, Intel measured the uncertain future against the profitability of the present, and the present kept winning. This is what economists call the innovator's dilemma. A system of incentives that rewards companies for protecting the world they already dominate, even as that world begins to change. When ChatGPT launched in late 2022, something unusual happened on Wall Street. Analysts who covered semiconductor companies found themselves trying to value a business they had no existing framework for. Nvidia wasn't winning a chip competition. It had left the chip competition entirely and entered a different category. Every major AI company, OpenAI, Google, Meta, Microsoft, was running its infrastructure on CUDA. Nvidia had become what analysts began to describe as the operating system of the AI era. That realization that Nvidia was no longer competing with Intel, but had become something categorically different, was the moment the market repriced everything. So Nvidia is worth more than Intel, not because it built a better chip. Because it built something the chip itself couldn't contain: a platform, an ecosystem, a layer of infrastructure that the entire AI industry now runs on top of and cannot easily walk away from. Nvidia now controls 90% of the market for AI training chips. Intel built the PC era and assumed that computing would stay that way. Nvidia built the tools for a future that didn't exist yet and waited 16 years for the world to arrive. And Intel's story isn't over. In 2026, its stock has surged dramatically, driven by new leadership, government investment, and a reported deal with Apple. Whether that marks a genuine comeback or a temporary repricing is a question the market is still answering. But here is what makes this story genuinely unsettling. Every great technology empire at its peak believes its position is permanent. History and technology doesn't repeat cleanly, but it rhymes with uncomfortable precision. Somewhere right now, there is probably a company making a billion-dollar bet on infrastructure for a world that doesn't exist yet. And today's market leaders probably don't see it yet. So what company today do you think might reshape the tech industry? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the companies and technologies shaping the future, subscribe. There's a lot more coming.